You're watching Smart Money, the show that helps you make smart financial decisions. I'm Nastasia Arendse. We're in the middle of tax season, so that's what we're focusing on this evening. SARS recently announced an amendment to the return threshold. And joining us for a look at what this means are Doné Howell, the Director of Tax at BDO South Africa, and Sheldon, Friedericksen, who's the Chief Financial Officer at Fedgroup. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start off with you, Doné. In practical terms, what does it mean, and does it change the relationship that individuals have with SARS?
Well, I think firstly a person needs to just clarify that it doesn't mean that people earning less than 500,000 now stop paying tax. It merely means that those taxpayers may be in a position where they don't need to file a tax return. But SARS's rules are very specific, and you'll see that it's largely directed at employed taxpayers. You look at the specific rules to say that your salary needs to be less than 500,000, and it must be from a South African employer. That you don't have any other income like travel allowances, like investment income, returns of capital gains, rental income, etc. And you don't want to claim any additional expenses. So the reason why SARS has brought about this change and the increase from 350,000 previously to 500,000 is really to help them with the start of the 2019 filing season. They committed themselves again to client service delivery. And by doing that, SARS needed to free up their staff members, their resources, to start focusing on the taxpayers. And as a matter of interest, only 15% of the taxpayers out there contribute 69% towards the tax pot, towards the budget that our minister is looking for every year. 85%, and those 500,000 people earning 500,000 and less, 85% of our taxpayers only contribute 31%. So you can see SARS needs to free up its time and resources to focus on the 15% of taxpayers who contribute the most to the tax pot, essentially. So the threshold of 500,000 then really allows SARS and its staff members the time to focus on the taxpayers who really require their review.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. SARS is basically relying on employer groups who are responsible to manage their payrolls, and most of them use payroll software that does the tax deductions that are required. So SARS is, in essence, eliminating their need to look at those and relying on employers to do what they need to do, as well as their software, and getting that tax from the PAYE payments that are made monthly, and then they can focus on the matters that they need to focus on to ensure that we reach the budget that they.
A lot of taxpayers actually thought that they were being hard done or done in, that they weren't able to then claim their medical contributions or their retirement or the contributions towards a pension or a retirement fund. But as Sheldon's indicated, your payroll and the payroll process has already taken that into account. So your employer has done its job or their job, and therefore there's no need for you to submit a return, because at the end of the day, you won't get any money back nor have to pay any money in if your employer has got it spot on.
Yes, and obviously with SARS in their analysis, they've earmarked that 500,000 and less, often those are the taxpayers or potential taxpayers that actually don't have other income from other sources. Right. So it's all housed in what your company knows about you. Whereas people earning more than that, sometimes you do have a rental property, or you contribute to an RA that your employer doesn't know about, and that's where the computation of tax has to take into account those other elements.
Sure. What does it say about, I suppose, for lack of a better description, the modernity of SARS? I mean, if you look at the SARS e-filing system, that's also changed, got a complete new revamp. And one gets the sense, as Doné alluded to, that SARS is trying to make things a lot more easier for, citizens to be able to file their taxes. What does it say about the way SARS is trying to change their image and, make it easier for one to be able to conduct their business?
So SARS, in my view, has always been quite on the forefront of technology in terms of our e-filing platforms that we enable. I think what they're trying to go further now is to make it simple to understand and to make you being able to be compliant with tax simpler in your hands, which also eliminates the administrative burden that they have to send query letters and to follow up on those query letters, which will then reduce their internal costs and hopefully help them get a better reward for the costs that they do, or the salaried staff that they have, in terms of what factors they're looking at in terms of the taxpayers out there.
All right. Doné, perhaps you could take us through, the e-filing windows, because some people tend to miss it and wait to the last moment until they can get everything done. Perhaps you could share with us the importance of meeting those deadlines on time.
Sure, and I think just to remind taxpayers out there that the first deadline is really at the end of this month, and that's largely where you don't use the e-filing platform. You as a taxpayer have the opportunity to go into a SARS branch for them to assist you either manually or for them to load you on their system. And I've seen now recently SARS has indicated that they actually open on Saturdays to try and facilitate the demand that taxpayers have to come into the branch offices. But for most taxpayers who do have either tax practitioners like myself or have access to e-filing, our deadline for people who are salaried, so people that haven't got other sort of income who qualify as provisional taxpayers, would be early in December. It would be the 4th of December that you need to file your 2019 return. While provisional taxpayers, people that have investment returns or rental income, etc., they have until the end of January of next year, usually 11 months after a filing or a tax season has ended. So the importance is that SARS has all of these innovations that they have. The Mobi app, which is on your cell phone, has been revamped. The e-filing site has also been revamped because they try and keep on the forefront of technology and innovation. Very important, and one needs to commend SARS and the Commissioner for always keeping up to date with that and trying to facilitate as far as possible our jobs.
We're going to take a quick ad break, and then Sheldon, perhaps when we come back, we can talk about the importance of getting professional advice, especially when it has to do with one's investment portfolio in relation to tax and various other things that people can consider. Let's take a pause on that conversation. We'll be back right after the break.